Have you been injured at no fault of your own? The Masters Law Firm is on your side and here to help you in your time of need. With decades of experience, our team understands the toll that injuries take on victims and their families, offering both legal expertise and unwavering support. From car accidents to complex injury cases across West Virginia, we've got you covered. Visit our website at themasterslawfirm.com or call us today at 304-342-3106 for a free consultation. Your journey to recovery starts with us.
The Touchdown City Show is presented by Masters Law Firm, West Virginia's personal injury lawyers. Coming to you from the Stone Church Studio in St. Albans, West Virginia. This is the Touchdown City Show.
Welcome into the Touchdown City Show presented by the Masters Law Firm. I'm Anthony Lewis in the Stone Church Studio today with Matt Durrett, Derek Bailey, and the GOAT, Avon Coburn, as the Mountaineers on homecoming weekend could not get it done against the TCU Horned Frogs. 23-17 the final. Looked like a great crowd in Morgantown. Gentlemen, it's good to see you guys as we start to approach Halloween weekend. Probably my favorite time of year. I want to ask you guys a few things about Halloween later in the show. But first of all, the Mountaineers fall 23-17. First of all, let me ask you guys this. What did you guys think of Scotty Fox? He was 28 of 41, 301 yards, 2 touchdowns. What did you think of Scotty Fox, the true freshman?
I thought he played a whole lot better than he has in the past games. I was impressed, man. I was impressed that he actually started making plays the way he did. I mean, for me, that was a surprise.
You know, the bigger question is, where was this a couple of weeks ago? Like, it's nice to see, like, he showed some signs of improvement. It looked like he was a little more poised out there. It looked like there was some things that were working well for him. I mean, it was great to see. Through 300 yards, you can't really complain about the quarterback play because he didn't have any really horrible bad turnovers or anything like that. I was impressed with him. I mean, he showed some growth. And that's all you can ask for in a season like this, is to see improvement. And I thought we saw some improvement over the weekend from Scotty Fox.
Played like a guy who wants it to be his team, I think. I think you've seen him the last couple of weeks. They've been alternating the guys in and out. I think last night he let you know that he's ready to go. He wants this to be his team, and hopefully we can stop with the rotating quarterbacks, switch it up, and give it to him, and then build for next year.
I was impressed with him, and I don't think you're going to see too many rotating quarterbacks because there's nobody to rotate with. But I was impressed with him, and what I think I liked about it was the fact that he went into it knowing he was the man this week.
Right.
And, when you're talking about a true freshman, I don't ever really know what to expect. I mean, it's rare that you see a true freshman come in on let's just call it what it is, on a bad football team and look impressive. But I think, he looked poised, and, he came in with a week of prep, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he progresses through the rest of the schedule. One thing that stood out to me was the fact that, the game started off slow, and West Virginia went down 10-0 and then fought back, and then even went down 13. Did it feel like the offense was getting rhythm? Like they got their it was the typical slow start. They go down 10-0, but I just felt like as the game went on, it was like you were starting to see them find themselves out there. What did you guys think?
Yeah, and like you talked about earlier with Scotty, him not having to look over his shoulder, I think helped, knowing that, hey, he's not going to be rotating 4 and 5 guys, which helped. And they started picking up steam with every play that they made. Then the defense started making plays. I mean, it was fun to watch, because the whole time I'm thinking about it, the whole time I'm watching, I'm thinking about the speech I gave them last week, and just to have them respond and come out and play. I mean, it just felt like every other series they got better and better. Quarterbacks start making plays. I mean, obviously there's a deficit that we need to fix in our front, but like you said, man, it was fun to watch them start making plays. And the biggest thing I loved about this game was they fought to the end of the game. It was not any quit. There was no loafs. You can tell they wanted it. And like you said earlier, man, the crowd was in it. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like they did get a little bit of rhythm finally. Like they hadn't been the best at like sustaining any drives early in games, and they did get off to a slow start. They failed a couple fourth and third and shorts there, and failed early in the game and fell behind 10-0. But once they started digging in, it felt like they did develop a little bit of a rhythm, especially in the passing game. The run game never got off the ground. We'll talk about that shortly. But, it felt like passing-wise, they did develop a little bit of rhythm. He hit Vaughn for several passes. It feels like he got a nice rapport with him going. So, that's a huge positive moving forward, and hopefully it can continue and they can continue to play better. Because after the Central Florida game, I think we were all doom and gloom, and it's just like, man, are they ever going to do anything? So it was great to see the offense actually move the ball, sustain some drives, scored some points, came up short. Not 17 is not going to beat very many people, but at the same time, compared to what we've been seeing, I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, I agree with him. I think at this point in the season, it's not going to be a great season, so you just got to find things that you can build off of, and that's what they got to do. You got to take all the positive that you had last night, dude. You're a 17.5-point underdog at home. So to keep it close and then the crowd to still be what it was and into it, that's a big positive, and you just got to build off that and move into the next week.
Unfortunately, the offensive line didn't show a lot of growth to me. They did pass block a lot better. The running game, Derek, you mentioned it, didn't quite get off the ground, but I know the offense found some rhythm, and they were, they got it. He kept them in the game, but it was a little disappointing that they were 3 of 14 on third down and 2 of 7, on fourth down. That's bad when you can't get a foot. There's a couple of times even Rich went for it like on their own 30, right. And
he was trying to find something.
He's just trying to get it going, and that's and they rotated some. There was some new offensive linemen playing yesterday. So they're trying some new things. I know he lit their ass on fire this week at practice due to the fact that there was in that press conference last week he mentioned that there was a loaf on the third play of the game, and he don't play that. Right. I mean, he does not play that. So I know that they were it was probably a rough week of practice for him, and it showed on the field. I felt like the defense was flying around. The defense looked aggressive. And they were flying around. I thought Perry was going to get thrown out of the game a couple of times. He hit some people in the head. That quarterback, he popped him in the head.
That was early. That was very early. It was like the first or second series.
And I thought, oh man, here he goes. But I guess they took a look at it probably in the booth and just went on past it. But what'd you guys think of the onside kick? Did you guys like that call?
Absolutely. I mean, it was the time we needed it. It came when we needed it. I thought we got it. I don't know how they ruled it that it was their ball when we got the ball back. It doesn't matter. Like if you come out with the ball on the scrum, it's your ball. I don't like the fact that the refs gave them the ball, and it really, I mean that sealed it for us.
I mean the thing is he's given him, like the way I view this is he's getting 2 chances to get the ball back. I think that's why he did it. He onsides kicked with a couple minutes left, and he said, okay, well, maybe we can get a stop, burn our timeouts, get the ball back. So, I mean, I see what he was trying to do. I don't know that it's one of those things where you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. You can do it or not do it, but as soon as they get a first down, the game's over if you kick it deep. I mean, it's just one of those things. Mm-hmm. So I don't really know. I mean, I don't second guess it because your defense has struggled at times mightily to stop teams, so why not give it a shot and maybe get the ball back on a lucky bounce?
I would agree with what he just said. I mean, there's really not much more you need to say other than that, so I'm not going to hold you up and repeat everything he said because that's the line of thinking you have to have at that point.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I like the call. Anything at this point, who cares? I mean, like you're trying to get the ball back and win the game, and
he could have onesides kicked it to open the game for all I care. If it had worked, it'd been great. If it didn't work, oh well.
Exactly. One of the things, man, it was a little disappointing. You're in the game, you're down 7, down 10, and the whole stadium everybody just rolled out. I mean, It's a close game. We could have used those people last night. It didn't even seem like on third down that they were making any noise. At one point, was the announcers. They made something like a little bit of noise. It wasn't like your typical Morgantown. And he goes, "Listen to this crowd." It was like Harry Doyle, calling. I was like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah, no, he was like, "Listen to this crowd. There's nothing going on.
Yeah,
they're not there."
There was one point on third down, nobody even was yelling. It was dead quiet in the stadium. I was like, "What was going on?"
Part of the reason for that is West Virginia was kind of the crowd was kind of taken out of the game early with you trailed 10-0, and it was and the team's struggling, and you don't see so I can see it, but yeah, it's still a close game.
Homecoming weekend. Tommy Bowden and Terry Bowden were in the house.
Oh, really?
Shout out to KJ. They brought back the Bowden era. They were celebrating the 75 Peach Bowl team, but they invited all the Bowden era players back. So all the old guys were there. And the Bowden brothers are, they're Morgantown High guys.
Right. Yeah.
Terry and Tommy are.
Was Jeff? I don't remember if Jeff was or not. He's a little younger than they are.
They may have already moved to Tallahassee.
I think he. Yeah.
Well, look right behind you. There's John Antonic's book, Almost Heaven. I need to take that home and read it. But Bobby Bowden's career in Morgantown, people look fondly back at him because of what he went on to accomplish. But man, the fans really gave him hell. He blew that pit game and
ran him out of town.
They tried to run him out of town, and then they hung him in effigy up there.
That's what I was going to say. They had the what was it, made out of straw or something? They made the dummy and hung it.
Yeah, but one thing that I do know, because I've had the opportunity to interview Coach Bowden a few times, is he really looks fondly back at his time in Morgantown, and I think it's because his kids grew up there, and he was established his early career and his life was in Morgantown, so he loved coming back, and he always used to say that because West Virginia and Florida State played, I think, in '82, and then we played them two more times in the Gator Bowl, and he said, I never take any joy in beating West Virginia, but it was good to see the Bowden era guys back, and guys, KJ's doing a hell of a job.
Yeah, KJ, he's killing it,
with
man.
The varsity club.
Shout out to him again, because he's doing things to make former players come back, and believe it or not, I think that is kind of the missing link with a lot of these big time programs, is that their former players are involved. Which means, the players that are there know that when they come back, they'll get love. So, Direct, did you go to the game?
I couldn't. I had to. I had a funeral I had to go to yesterday.
So you said forget the game. You gonna go to the funeral? Is that kind of? I'm just playing.
I skipped it. The 6 o'clock start was too tough for me, and my daughter had something going on, so I didn't want to go up and back by myself. Here's what I thought was funny. Did you guys notice how often they were using those blackout lights?
Yeah.
I bet Rich was losing his ever-loving mind on the sideline. How do you coach when it's pitch black in the stadium for 2 minutes? It wasn't like something they just turned the lights out for 30 seconds and they lit it up. It was like the whole break.
Yeah, and it's crazy because when you're making adjustments, you need the board, and you can't make adjustments if you can't see.
What do you think he was saying down there?
He's just yelling. It doesn't matter. Let him yell. Just let him yell some more.
Did you guys watch Game Day yesterday?
I didn't.
I'm going to play this for you. This is something that came out from Pat McAfee, and I want to get your...
I think I saw this. I didn't. I wasn't watching, but I think I saw
I want to play this for you, and I want to get your reactions.
A Wednesday that I got a call from Rich Rodriguez, who was my college football coach, a man that I think is going to be able to do good things at West Virginia. And one of our biggest donors decided that he was not going to give the amount of money that they thought he was potentially going to give, and they needed the money by the next day. Like, hey, we need this money by the next day because we got these couple guys that we made these promises to, and now the money isn't coming from where we thought it was going to come through. And I said, hey, all right, I'll help. So I send the money over. I didn't even think to myself, man, I should get some leverage here. Okay, I should get some say in who's playing. Because I think every guy I potentially paid on their way out of the door already. They have not won a lot of games, but I didn't say that. I just wanted to help the program. So, like, the hopes would be that the money people just want to help the program. But a lot of these guys with their money and women with their money, it's not just helping the program. It's also like, hey, I now have a stake in the program, which is kind of how it's being sold. That's just the reality of the world that we're in. Not that it's great.
So somebody pulled their cash.
Somebody.
And I guess they were on the hook for somebody, but I agree with McAfee. This is where we're at now with this money thing. And, they had to pay these people. Obviously, those promises made. But, the fact that he said it's kind of being sold like these donors have a say in who's playing and who's going in and who's going out. That's a slippery slope.
But that's ultimately that's what it comes down to, man. When I'm paying my money, I should be able to tell you who I want to play because I feel like if my money's going to that quarterback, I want to see what my money is going to do. It sucks, but until they put some structure and rules on this thing, everybody's going to have a say that is giving money, and if they don't, that's probably why they pulled it because he's like, look, you telling me my guy's not going to play?
Right.
All right, well, you go find the money from somewhere else.
And that's what I said. We were talking about it last week, and when I said they've turned it into the NFL. That's what they've done. They've turned it into the NFL. Like you get a GM that drafts his quarterback number 1 overall.
Absolutely.
He is going to force him instead of admitting he made a mistake and say, Jerry West said, the quicker you admit to a mistake, the quicker you move on from it. So but we don't have that mindset. If I'm paying $15 million a year, and I'm just being hypothetical, and I've paid this quarterback and he doesn't play, well, I'm not going to give you my money anymore.
Right.
I gave you $15 million for a quarterback that you wanted. You better believe I should have a right to say, well, hey, you're not playing my guy anyway, so I'm not giving you any more money.
No, you can't let the inmates run the asylum. That's you can't. And if that's the way it's going to be perceived, I think you got to let that money walk and figure it out, because once you start letting fans and donors call shots, you're in a spot that you're no longer in control of your program.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but I think we're already we're past that. I think we've been past that.
That's fine, but I mean, even if I'm a coach and okay, you paid that guy, we misevaluated him. I'm not going to play him just because you paid him if he's being outworked and outperformed by someone else. If you go down that road of letting people call their shot of I played this or I paid this guy,
we're here.
We need to play.
Yeah, we're at that point.
You've lost all control. It's no longer your program.
Yeah,
it's a donor's program. You can't let that happen.
And maybe that's what Rich did. Maybe he told somebody, I don't care what you paid him. I'm not playing him, and that's why he pulled the cash.
I'm in the corner that it's been a donor's program for multiple years now, because once you start having bad seasons, and this I'm talking years ago now, those donors pull donations when the
Michigan was doing. Yeah.
Anybody, it doesn't matter. They'll pull donations if they're not happy with the head coach, and then that forces the AD to make a move at head coach.
Right.
So I mean, now it's just getting worse and worse and worse and worse as we go on, because you're paying players, you're paying this guy, you're paying that guy, and you're going to see it more and more. I wouldn't be surprised that Brian Kelly's in trouble at LSU.
Ooh, he should be in trouble at LSU. They're awful.
Luke Fickell's in trouble at Wisconsin.
Also can't score.
But that's the thing though.
31-point dogs.
I mean, yeah, I'm just saying these schools are.
When's the last time you saw Wisconsin team be 31-point dogs?
That's terrible.
Well, I'm sure we'll talk about it later. They scored a touchdown last night. Wisconsin did. It was their first touchdown since the opening drive against Michigan on October the 4th. It was their first.
And he still has a job.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. Everybody, wants to disagree with these donors and people that are throwing out this big money. But at the same time, when you're the one throwing out that big money, and you see that on the field, you gotta. I mean, you're going to be like, listen, you're going to do something, or I'm not giving you any more money.
Right.
But you can't do that, because if you get into that spot, you're firing people every year. Players are transferring more often than what they already are. And it becomes just a bad situation all around. You cannot let these people run the asylum. You can't do it. They're not in there day after day seeing what's going on in practice. So if you want to give me your money, give me your money. You're investing play it like a stock market. You're giving me this money. I'm your investor. Trust me. Let me go do what I'm going to do. Let me handle what happens on the field, who plays, who does this. Support us. Treat us like we're a stock. You're buying stock in us. You're buying low.
Go down.
We're going to get it high.
That stock goes down.
Do you keep
leaving?
Do you keep your money in stocks that crash?
Absolutely not.
But you can't.
You got to ride it out. Is that what you're saying?
you have to.
We're not dollar cost averaging on this
You
one.
have to see it as an investment. You cannot let these people who are not there every day and have no experience coaching run your program just based off of their money. If you're doing that, you're headed down a bad road, and it's just you've now lost your program to money.
Hey, it's an interesting world we're living in right now. That's for sure, gentlemen. Hey, real quick before we take a break, Morty Ivy's coming up next. He's going to talk to us about the 05 Sugar Bowl season. And then don't forget, next Saturday at Buffalo Wild Wings, Nitro Marketplace, West Virginia at Houston. We got the worst possible time for an event, but that's all right. Come on out. We got a noon kickoff, 11 a.m. start time on our event. I was praying for 2 o'clock. But it is what it is. It's for a great cause. We're raising money for Christmas presents for the kids at the Cross Lanes YMCA and also at the Davis Child Shelter. Our guest, Mike Vanderjack, I just talked to him today. He's excited to get down to Charleston. He actually used to come and stay here in the Kanawha Valley when he was trying to get into the NFL. So he's very familiar with the Valley, and he's looking forward to getting back down here. So that's next Saturday, November 1st, Buffalo Wild Wings, Nitro Marketplace, West Virginia at Houston, 11 a.m. start. Mike Vanderjack is our guest, the former All-Pro, and at one point was the most accurate kicker in NFL history. Had a perfect season, the first kicker ever. So Morty Ivy's coming up next. We'll be back after this.
The text line is open. Send your questions or comments to 304-729-4465.
As the game gets faster, stronger, more dynamic, your equipment has to keep up. Introducing the Riddell Axiom, the next evolution in football protection, designed to match the speed and strength of today's athlete. Contact West Virginia Riddell representative Casey Turley at 304-552-5960. 304-552-5960. Gear up, play smart, stay protected.
Tony the Tailor is well known for having the best quality suits and jackets available anywhere. But our strength is actually our sophisticated footwear and casual wear. From Brax pants to LBM soft jackets and Hagen shirts, Johnny O sportswear, DiBianco, Allen Edmonds, and Johnston & Murphy shoes, plus much more. We have what you need for work or at play. Tony the Tailor, downtown Charleston, or online at bestmastertailor.com.
Yeah, this is Keelan Dykes, the 2017 captain of the Fiesta Bowl, and you're listening to the Touchdown City Show.
And welcome back to the Touchdown City Show. And as promised, joining us on the telephone as we continue to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the 2005 football team, along with the Sugar Bowl victory, is Mr. Morty Ivy. Morty, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm great, man. I appreciate you taking the time to join us, and we've got about 12 minutes here, so we'll try to breeze through some of this stuff. But let me ask you this: as I introduce this, and I say, it's been 20 years. Is it hard to believe that it's been 20 years since that season, since the 05 season?
And it's wild. It's not it really didn't hit me yet, knowing that it's been 20 years, but it's exciting knowing that it is 20 years now.
It seems like just time flies, and I know you went on and had a few stops in the NFL and played some professional football for a few years. But let's go back and look at this 05 defense. And as I studied the film and went back and looked at this season, I have to kind of think that this is probably one of the most underrated defenses in WV football history. And I think it probably just gets overshadowed because of the offensive side of the ball and how explosive they were, especially in the second half of the season, which we'll get into. But talk about the 05 defense, and you feel like it might be overlooked a little bit?
Oh, of course. I mean, when you have an offense that's high powerful and they can score any moment, it gets overlooked when you have some great guys on that side of the ball. But on the defensive side, we definitely played as a whole group, as a team. We played for each other, and we just had to make crucial plays at crucial times, and it was a really exciting year.
When I go back and look at it, I'll have to say, and tell me if you agree with this, that until the offense, if you go back and look, it's kind of a tale of two seasons, right? And right in the middle with the Louisville comeback, which we'll get into, but the defense really kept this team afloat moving through the season, only giving up 7 points to Syracuse and 15 points to ECU, and kept other teams at bay, but until the offense kind of found their ground. Do you feel like that's an accurate statement, or how was that working? Were you guys really, focused on shutting down teams until the offense could get it together?
I mean, that's always your goal. That's one of the main objectives we had in the beginning of the year was, limiting teams to a certain amount of points and causing turnovers and getting sacks. So that was one of the things that we talked about in the beginning of our season that year, and we just went out there and executed.
Let's talk a little bit about, as I mentioned, it was kind of a tale of two seasons, right? So you get all the way up until you play Virginia Tech, which the outcome wasn't what everyone wanted. But then you have a showdown with Louisville. What do you remember about going into that Louisville game and facing that offense with Michael Bush and Brom? They were the new kids on the block, so to speak, in the Big East. But what was the attitude in the West Virginia locker room going into that?
I mean, at first, we knew what they had, and our goal was to limit them to big explosive plays. And in the first half, we kind of struggled, limiting them to their plays. And then, Coach Jeff Castile, the defensive coordinator, brought us in at halftime and told us if we execute and do what we're supposed to do, we can come out with a victory in this.
And obviously, the first half, you guys went down, and I believe we're down 17 with 8 minutes to go. What do you remember about that? And did you guys feel like if the offense could kind of get it going, that you guys would be able to stop them offensively as you moved into overtime? What do you remember about, especially the comeback part?
I mean, that's always the deal. It's one play at a time. So, when we got a big time stop and our offense went down and scored, and then, we came back out and said, hey, we got to get another big time stop. And we was able to get that, and, the offense scored again. So we just played off each other. And once we started getting a little momentum and a little juice, we just kept it rolling.
And obviously, it's probably arguably the biggest victory of the season, definitely the most exciting and dramatic. What do you remember about the locker room after that? And moving forward, did that win give you guys confidence, even more confidence, moving forward through the course of the season, because you still had Pitt and UConn and Cincinnati, and of course you ended up playing in the Sugar Bowl? What was the locker room like after the game?
Oh, I mean, with any locker room with a big time win like that, Louisville was a good team, and they came out there and they executed as best as they could, and the best team won. So for us, it was just exciting because we came back and we just believed in each other from that point on, and knowing that, hey, anything can happen, but as long as we keep going forward, we'll be okay.
Now, the statute of limitations has worn off and it no longer applies, but did you by chance go out and burn any couches, or how did you guys celebrate that night?
Nah, we don't go burn no couches. We leave that to the fans. For us, it was normal. Just, we just hang together and enjoy each other as a family.
So one of the, after the Louisville win, obviously one of the most exciting wins of the season, but one that always kind of stands out when you go back and look at the season and watch it was playing Pittsburgh that season. And, obviously the offense had switched. You've moved Pat White into the offensive side of the ball, and Steve Slayton's running the football. But what do you remember about the Pitt game, especially how cold it was that night?
I don't really remember so much. I know they did some really good things. They tried to, limit us on defense, on our offensive side of the ball. But when you got electrifying guys like that, it's hard to stop them. So, we just went in there and had to execute, and it's a big time rival game, so that was always the deal for us is win the rival games.
And obviously, big game, big win over the Pitt Panthers, and you go on to also knock off Connecticut and Cincinnati, and then you go down to South Florida and handle business. So your reward was a matchup with the University of Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. When the game was moved to Atlanta, was there any concern about having to play Georgia in their backyard, or was that just a part of the deal in going down to play in the Sugar Bowl?
I mean, in the beginning, when we first found out that it was getting moved there, it was kind of like, man, like we're playing in a bowl game and it ain't supposed to be at your home state, in your own city. So we knew that they were going to come with a nice crowd, and they get a lot of their fans. They get fans at their games, so we knew it was going to be a loud crowd. But like I say always, when you got guys that can execute on both sides of the ball, and we came out there, we knew we had to play for each other and execute as a group.
So you guys go into Atlanta, and obviously the offense jumps out big. But defensively, I feel like you guys really set the tone early, causing some turnovers with some stops. And then, of course, they were struggling trying to figure out what the offense was doing. But what do you remember about matching up with Georgia, and especially the tight end? I believe his name was Pope. He could have presented some problems. But what do you remember about matching up with them and especially getting the stops early to kind of set the tone?
I mean, our thing for us is we know we're a little undersized to most teams, and what we're good at is our speed. So our coaches put a good game plan of using our speed and getting after them a little bit early on, and like our offense was able to put up some points. So then it just got to the point that we used our speed to their size, get some key stops, and put some points on the board, and it goes from there.
Mm-hmm. So obviously, when you look back historically, that game really set the tone and actually kind of marks the beginning of what they deemed the golden era at West Virginia. Obviously, the 05, 06, 07 runs, and then all the way up through 11 with the Orange Bowl. But that was kind of the starting point with 05. What do you remember about your teammates when you go back and look at it now? I mean, what a list of characters, right? You have Owen Schmidt, who's deemed later the runaway beer truck, and then Steve Slayton, who's headed to the College Football Hall of Fame, and, of course, Pat White wins 4 bowl games as a quarterback, and then, of course, Pat McAfee's probably the most known member of sports entertainment and also sports, media right now. What do you remember about your teammates and how that all kind of came together as a team, as a group?
I mean, a lot of us came and played together at the same time. I mean, me and Pat are the same class, and Steve and McAfee, they came into class after us, and Owen was a transfer. So for those guys, when we all started bonding together and just playing together, it was like, we're like brothers. So it was like, you play for each other as brothers. So that was our biggest thing, and we didn't want to let our brother down. So we just played hard throughout our career at West Virginia.
This year, they're going to be honoring you guys for I believe, the Colorado game, and also Steve will be getting his College Football Hall of Fame plaque. You plan on making the trip and coming back up with your brothers?
Yeah, I'm definitely trying to make the trip. Just got to make sure everything up here is good with me coaching and everything, but definitely trying to make that trip.
Fantastic. And we got about a minute left. So I wanted to ask you, it seems surreal, especially to me being a former employee there working within the athletic department, but Coach Rodriguez is back in Morgantown. What's your take on his return, and what do you think the expectations for his for this football team will be?
I mean, he changed his slogan to a hard edge, but I know when we were playing, and it was always hold the rope, and it was just play for each other, So I'm excited that he's back. He brought a couple guys that played or coached with him that's back. So I think it's going to be very exciting, and I'm excited to wait to see what they do.
Fantastic. Well, Morty, appreciate you taking the time to join us here on the Touchdown City Show. And, best of luck to you coaching this fall.
Thank you.
All right. And after the break, the guys will be back in the studio, and we'll have the Alumni Hall Trivia Question of the Week after this.
Visit our new website at touchdowncity.com.
Hey Mountaineers, Alumni Hall is your ultimate West Virginia Mountaineers shopping destination. Upgrade your tailgate gear, shop officially licensed clothing for the family, or load up on hats, gifts, and accessories. Keep track of your purchases with our Hall Pass Rewards, where you get $10 in rewards for every $150 spent. And WVU students, faculty, and all military receive 10% off when shopping in-store. Shop at Alumni Hall in Morgantown or Charleston, or online at alumnihall.com. Alumni Hall, where Mountaineer fans shop.
Hey, this is Bo Orlando, captain of 1988 Fiesta Bowl team. You're listening to Touchdown City Show.
And welcome back to the Touchdown City Show, presented by the Masters Law Firm, West Virginia's injury lawyers. And it's great to hear from Morty Ivy. Appreciate him taking the time to join us and talk a little bit about the fact that it's been 20 years since the 2005 Sugar Bowl win over Georgia, as we continue to bring you stories from that season all season long here on the Touchdown City Show. It's now time for the Alumni Hall Trivia Question of the Week. The phone number, 304-729-4465. Again, 304-729-4465. The question for a $25 gift card to Alumni Hall with great locations in Charleston and Morgantown. Rocked my 65 hoodie yesterday. The question, Rasheed Marshall, he wore number 2 at West Virginia. But what number did he wear in his freshman year? The number, if you have the answer, text it to 304-729-4465 for a $25 gift card to Alumni Hall. Trick or treat this week, boys. What was your Avon? What was your favorite Halloween costume?
I don't know. I never really did Halloween. We never really did Halloween. We had no money, man. You know what I mean? I never really did Halloween. So
you just put a panty on your head and just go to the doors and get candy?
No, didn't do that, man.
Stockings or something?
I remember as a kid we would get those plastic things and rip them all up. They'd be ripped by the time you get out of school. I can't remember, man. I'm not really a Halloween guy.
That stuff.
I love candy though.
That stuff they make now, man, it's so much better than the crap. We had them terrible plastic masks they tear up before you even wore them or everything.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it was brutal.
Well, my iPad died here, but yeah. So Halloween, plug that in for me, Derek. We're winging it here on the podcast, but the Halloween. I remember one year I dressed up as Luke Skywalker. I had the what I think it may have came from Empire Strikes Back, and so you know what they always say: don't go to doors where the lights are out. Well, I get ahead of everybody, and I'm just going door to door to door. So I go into this yard, and the lights are out, and I'm knocking on the door, and I'm like, oh, I guess homie ain't coming to the door. So I turn around. Well, his German Shepherd was in the yard.
Oh, Lord.
That dog bit me right in the ass. Bit through the costume, ripped my costume. It was brutal.
Were you bleeding?
Yeah, he got me. But guess who never went to a yard with no lights on? I mean, you know, in today's world, that's a lawsuit. Back then, it was, you know, we were raised right. That was your dumbass fault.
You don't go in the yard. They said don't go to a light if the light's out.
So, yeah, so Halloween was I enjoy trick or treat in Halloween even more than Christmas. I don't even really put up Christmas decorations. I've got some Halloween stuff.
If I put Christmas decorations up, they staying up year round.
I think
last time I put a tree up, I think that shit was up till like March.
I have one Christmas decoration, and it's the quote from Christmas Vacation. It's like, you want me to take you out to the middle of nowhere and leave you for dead?
So news this week. What you guys think of this gambling scandal? I mean, I know this isn't college football or WVU related, but this gambling thing is, man, this is a wild story, and it's got the mafia involved, and people are looking at some real prison time with they arrested an official this week.
Scott Foster, right?
Yeah,
he's the one. Him and Chris Paul got some beef going way back.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken, that's the one that Chris Paul's like 2-16 or something.
Chris Paul's winning percentage is low, and Chris Paul's foul percentage is way high.
Did you hear what he yelled whenever they were cuffing him and dragging him out of the house?
Yeah, he said, "Did Chauncey Billups put you up
No,
to this?"
he said, "Did Chris Paul put you up to this?"
Was it Chris Paul?
Yeah, him and Paul have had a beef that goes way back, and that's the only reason most people know that guy's name is because of that.
I didn't know he was arrested. Scott Foster. I didn't know that. But my thing is, and like,
let me double check this. I'm pretty sure.
Let me go ahead and say this, and I've said it for years and years and years. Because I gamble on this stuff, and everybody knows. I mean, I see games all the time. I'll tell you what. There was one over the weekend. I was watching Michigan Saturday night. This second week in a row, Michigan State's been involved. Second week in a row. Last weekend, Indiana and Michigan State, it's a 26.5-point spread. Indiana is up 38-10 with about 35 seconds left. The over-under's 49.5. It's 38-10 Indiana. Michigan State kicks a field goal to cover the spread and push the total over. Over the weekend, Michigan is up 31-13 with 2 minutes left in the ball game. Michigan State gets a couple penalties to get down the field and scores a touchdown and kicks the extra point with 7 seconds left to push the total over and cover the spread. It makes you wonder every single time. Every single time. No. There's been games. I'll tell you, there was a game years ago where a guy ran a kickoff back with 9 seconds left to cover a spread, and the game was by like 30. He ran the kickoff back for a touchdown though, and it covered the spread. There's been stuff happen in these games that you see, and it makes you wonder. Now, I'm not saying, I mean, I know this is the NBA that we're involved in right now, but, like, apparently this was pretty obvious as you go into the story and you start reading. There were people tweeting about these 7-8 years ago saying, hey, if you're going to point shave to the one guy that was
Terry Rozier. Terry Rozier's highlight tape was atrocious.
There were people tweeting at him, and they were like, hey, man, if you're going to point shave, make it more obvious. The feds are going to investigate you. So, like, there were people, because I don't really watch much NBA, and I'm not going to lie to him. And his was awful. He had some where he would just dribble it off of his foot. He had others where he'd pull like 45-footers. He had some where he'd be dribbling and just lose the dribble. Mm-hmm. And then Chauncey Billups had 2 or 3 different situations where he had a guy who had 37 points through 3 quarters. They're up 8, and he pulls his top 2 scorers for the remainder of the game, and they get beat. So they're not. It wasn't even like they were trying to hide it. Mm. He's doing this, and then the poker game is wild. Like, where are you getting an X-ray poker table that you can see through the cards and everything else? It's just a wild story.
So I had to go and check it. Even USA Today had to go back and write a story about Scott Fisher. I guess Scott Foster. The post that went out looked so real that even USA Today had to go back and say, no, he was not arrested.
Okay, I was going to say, because I didn't see that part of it.
I saw it, and I thought somebody
had seen he's implicated in.
But the thing is, though, is like, how far is this going to go? I mean, you're talking about a major NBA head coach, a player that
Hall of Famer,
a player that was worth what? He got a huge contract. Rozier did. They said, and I don't know if what's true.
Scary Terry did all his in Boston, or not in Boston. I'm sorry. Most of his, I think, took place in Charlotte.
Yeah.
And he got that huge contract based off of his play in Boston, where he had a really couple good years with the Celtics. But his reel of him point shaving and it's embarrassingly bad, embarrassingly bad. But at the same time, all these sports have made gambling the forefront of everything, right? Mm-hmm. ESPN bets. Anytime you watch an ESPN show, it's ESPN bets. Now, oddly enough, ESPN bets was not on the screen when they talked about Rozier and Chauncey Billups. Took all that down.
No, they were. Hang on, it was on the screen, but then they removed it when they realized. I think they started talking about that, and then they removed it. And we've seen this thing with Ohtani now, where his translator, they say it was his translator. Who knows what to believe there? But it was amazing how Major League Baseball reinstated Pete Rose, Shoeless Joe Jackson, and everyone as soon as that story broke. It feels like they reinstated all those guys that were banned from baseball. It's crazy how that happened. Like, you wonder how. I mean, I think it's easy to fix a sporting event. I really do. It's very easy. A boxing match, especially, a guy takes a dive in the third round, whatever. A basketball game, dude turns the ball over 4 times, whatever. A football game, quarterback can throw an interception, somebody can fumble.
Fixed all through. Look at Jake Paul. Every fight he has is fixed.
Referees can throw a flag. I mean, the only one to me that would be hard to fix is Major League Baseball. But that guy, the baseball player, though, even got brought up into it. He said, like, a first pitch of the baseball of his game, he threw one like that bounced like 4 feet outside, and it was like, will he throw a ball or a strike? Well, he must have bet on himself.
Well,
to throw a ball.
That's what I was going to ask you guys. Do you think they're going to, at a certain point, the feds are going to make them get rid of these prop bets like that?
Look, I like to gamble. I like to play those things. You play the stupid prop bets, you can win a lot of money. Chances of hitting it are slim to none. But if I had a friend, like say Avon's in the NFL, and I call it, I'm like, yo, I'm going to put $200,000 on you to go over 65 today. Here's what I'm going to hit. I'm going to split the cut. Make sure you get over 65 yards on the ground, big dog. Well, he's probably going to run harder. And if you have access to those guys, I mean, I would take that money but I mean, it makes me sound bad, but if I'm on a team and I'm not necessarily making huge money and somebody calls me and says, this is your line, I'm going to bet this tonight, here's what I'm going to hit, I'm going to do everything I can to hit that line or come in under it, which depending on the way they bet it.
What we don't realize is what they just did for the NCAA that gave them access to go and bet on pro football.
Yeah.
So now all of those guys, you turn my mic off. So all of those guys, they're actually going to be able to call up the people that just left and said, hey.
That's what I didn't understand that because I said this. I said,
just did
oh,
that
it's a
too.
good thing that these guys don't talk to each other as college teammates.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's a rookie starter in the NFL, or Caleb Williams, for example.
Right.
You know that some of those guys that were at USC with him can still, they still talk to him all the time. Like, hey, man, I got you for under 300 yards today. Oh, okay, cool. I'll check out at 295. I mean.
Well, and then the Damon Jones situation. Damon Jones is selling info based upon LeBron playing or not. Mm-hmm. And him and LeBron had been teammates for how long? So who knows how far that goes back. But Damon Jones is texting people, yo, before it's out that LeBron's not going to play, yo, before this hits the news, he's out tonight, hammer the Bucks, run it up, big money, this is what it is. He's not playing and AD's questionable.
I mean, of course you would bet that. If you're any gambling person at all, would bet against whatever team LeBron's on. If he's not playing, you would bet against him. You would bet against him. I mean, it's like taking Tom Brady off the Patriots, Peyton Manning, Jordan off the Bulls. You would bet against that team if you knew about it.
They've involved themselves in the world of gambling so much with the money that DraftKings and all these people are paying them, and it's just you've given it too much access of too much to bet on, too many ways to bet it that. You have to know at some point down the road, money is you're gonna get access to somebody, and you're gonna give them the opportunity to make this extra money, and it's just a question of, is that guy going to take that money and do this operation with you? Once you find somebody, those guys were probably cleaning up.
There was one recently in college football, SMU and Clemson. Klubnik didn't play. He was questionable all week, and he didn't play. Well, SMU was like a 9.5-point underdog. As soon as the news broke that Klubnik was out, the line dropped to like 4.5. Well, I mean, if you could get them at 9.5, they won the game outright. SMU did, but if you could get them at 9.5, knowing that Klubnik wasn't going to play, I mean, come on. I took SMU that week because I had read Tuesday that Klubnik might be out. I was like, well, if he might be out, then he could be out. So I mean, like, I'm going to take SMU because he might not play the whole game anyway.
But one other thing with this college betting, all these kids are making all this money. They are going to have a whole slew of addicted kids to gambling because they have access. Now they can gamble the NFL, and now they got all this money. They're going to make their money.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where, like you're talking about with the college kids having this money and the access, like if you handed me a bag of money and I'm 20, I'm not going to save that. I'm probably going to go buy some J's. I'm going to buy a chain. I'm going to gamble. I'm going to take care of bar tabs for my boys. And, you're going to be doing stupid things with that kind of money. But you can almost blame this on the sports themselves because they've made it so easy and they've intertwined gambling with every sport that you have, and you're giving me so much access to be able to bet it. At some point, somebody's going to know someone, so you have to have seen this coming, right? Mm-hmm. Like you had to have, and you've done it to yourself. So it's bad that Rozier and those guys would sacrifice the game for that, but at the same time, how much money were they making?
Yeah. Well, they've came a long way from the days of not being able to turn in to the days of not being able to turn in NCAA brackets. Like when I worked at West Virginia and you were playing, we couldn't even turn in brackets.
Well, welcome back to the USC and Nebraska, brought to you by DraftKings.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is now.
Yeah.
All right.
They've aligned themselves with it, and they've kind of put themselves in this position.
So Avon's pulled it up, and I have it here on the sheet yesterday. Did you guys see the DQ Smith played South Carolina, the non-tackle?
Yeah.
Man, he's getting beat up on Twitter. And Derek and I discussed it earlier. Derek's point was they're letting them score. I don't know, man. It's a tie game. That's a tough I think I'm fighting that one out. I mean,
because you could have got him down at the 12. Who's to say what happens? You get a bad snap, anything could happen on that next play. He lets up on him when he's at like the 10 or the 12-yard line.
And the way he did it, too.
So embarrassing.
Yeah. He puts his hands up.
Like when I first watched it, I thought the joke was the guy's fake stiff arm to him. But then I realized that, no, he just stopped and pulled his hands up and didn't touch him.
Yeah. He should have at least took a dive like he was trying.
They probably told him let him score. You know what I mean? And that happens. I mean, I've been on the team where they were like, hey, let him score, or, they're gonna try to let you score or go down. Mm-hmm, and I mean, I was at a game and the guy scored and we came back and won the game because he scored. And because we were like, we're gonna let him score. And we came back and won. So I've seen that done before, but in the midst of all this we're talking about,
I think that's what makes it worse is the fact that you're seeing all this gambling stuff come out and all these charges being filed and everything. So I think that adds that much more to that play, and it's like everybody's now going to think, look at this guy. What was the spread? What was the points?
Right.
What was it? And they're going to try to tie it back into that because that's the topic of the moment. If that's not the topic of the moment, nobody's probably talking about him letting him score.
Right.
Yeah, but they lit him up on Twitter. So.
Oh, it looks awful.
Yeah. But the thing is if he scores and then South Carolina goes back down the field and scores and ties the game, he looks like a genius.
Yeah. So, all right, let's get into some scores from around the Big 12. Utah, man, they clubbed them like, I mean, Colorado got manhandled 53-7.
I watched this game. I doubt anybody else did because it didn't kick off till like 10:15, and I'm a freaking sicko, so I watch everything. This was probably the worst performance I've ever seen out of a power conference football team in the first half for Colorado. They gave up over 400 yards, and they had minus 18 total yards at halftime. So the four of us sitting here doing this podcast had more yards than Colorado in the first half last night by 18 yards. Right. It was embarrassing. It was ugly. It was 43-0 at halftime, and it really could have been 56-0. Like, it was super close to 56 rather than just 43. Either way, it was a complete clinic of suck out of Colorado in the first half. That if they play anything like that the rest of the season, they won't win another game. And I do think the Mountaineers will beat them in Morgantown if they perform that way.
I told you like 2-3 weeks ago. That's the only.
But how did that team beat Iowa State? It did not. I mean, I could not believe how bad they looked.
How did we beat Pitt? Shit happens.
Well, yeah.
K-State rolled Kansas 42-17. Kansas starting to go south. I wish he could have started that journey a little earlier in the season, but 42-17 the final there. Cincinnati over Baylor. The Bearcats are rolling now. A team that, they're going to make a run for this Big 12 championship.
They're 7-1. Quietly 7-1.
Quietly 7-1. Texas Tech over Oklahoma State. Of course, they're having troubles in Stillwater. That was 42-0. BYU over Iowa State, a team that I thought had the chance to go to the Big 12 championship. 42-37, an old school Big 12 game broke out.
41-27.
Okay,
41-27 because I watched this ball game.
Okay, I had the wrong score.
I'm going to tell you,
get that from?
I was super impressed with the way BYU hung in there. This game was 24-10 at one point, and after that point, BYU outscored Iowa State 31-3. They got a pick six there late, like early in the fourth quarter, to put them in position to go up 41-27. BYU was impressive. They're very well coached. That's a very good football team. I'm anxious to see how they can continue to move forward as their season progresses, because I feel like them and Texas Tech right now are they're on a collision course to play in that Big 12 championship game, and that could be a one-loss team, a couple of one-loss teams going at it with the obvious chance for a playoff spot up in the air, and it might be 2 playoff spots depending on how the game comes out.
Houston in Arizona State, 24-16 the final. Houston with the win over the Sun Devils.
Houston's quietly 7-1.
Yeah, and of course we got to go down there next week.
If they were in the SEC, they'd be ranked like number 8.
Yep, they would be. Yeah, Houston. Connor Wegman, he was 17-22 with a touchdown, but here's the problem: this kid ran the ball for 21 times for 111 yards and 2 touchdowns. So we're going to have a guy that can throw it and run it. We got to try to defend that. He likes to target Tanner. This kid's name is Tanner Kazole, 7 catches, 100 yards. And then Dean Connors, number 44. They like to pound you with him. I went back and kind of watched their highlights and got a little bit of a taste of them. And, West Virginia's got their work cut out for them in Houston next week. The good thing is maybe they'll be sleepy because it's an 11 o'clock start time.
I feel like Wegman played for Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M a season. I don't know why I feel that way, but I feel like he did.
What do you think of them right now? I know we're changing subjects, but
my Lord, that quarterback for Texas A&M is exciting as can be. He's a little inconsistent with his throw still. Like, he'll throw a bad interception. You're like, but man, he flies, and they have 2 playmakers at wide receiver that they crushed LSU in the second half over the weekend in Baton Rouge, and that never happens. It was 35-0 in the second half at one point. That's a very, very, very good team, and they are rolling right now. I'm anxious to see how
best team money can buy.
And the thing is nobody's talking about them. It's more Ohio State, it's more Georgia, it's more Alabama. They're not quietly, but they're ranked number 3. But at the same time, it's like, oh, well, this team nobody ever mentions them to be ranked number 1. And I think they're more complete than Ohio State and Indiana both.
It's kind of crazy too, and we'll get back to Houston, West Virginia. You look at the top 10, and you got Indiana in there, right. A&M,
Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech is in the top 10.
BYU will be in the top 10.
Yes, they will be.
Virginia's pushing for a possible ACC championship game playoff spot.
Yeah, they're ranked 16th, I think, last week. So you're talking about. The one thing that the SEC didn't want to happen is happening.
Vanderbilt.
Not just with Vanderbilt, but across the country, is the playing field is leveled with the money.
I cannot wait to see how bad they screw some of these teams at the end with this playoff.
Yeah, well, you know how I feel about the playoffs. I hate it.
I hate it, and I've always hated it, but I can't wait because there's going to be several teams get left out of this that are possibly even 11-1 to 10-2. Like Ole Miss is going to the playoff. I don't know if you've looked at their schedule coming up. Ole Miss is going to finish 11-1 and be in the playoff, as they should be, rightfully so. But you're going to have teams like we're talking about BYU and Texas Tech. Well, if they end up both winning out and say Texas Tech wins that game in the Big 12 championship game, and they're both sitting at 12-1, and they leave a 12-1 BYU team out, that's bullcrap.
Yeah, I agree. Well, West Virginia and Houston. In Houston, the last time we were down there, Dana got us on the Hail Mary. So this could be. Let's look at maybe an upset here. Avon, what is your prediction for the fight on Saturday?
Well, Jim, I got it 25. No, so what I see in this game is I see us steadily progressing, getting better. It's going to be a lot closer than a lot of people think because of I think we have maybe 1 or 2 guys that went down there and got that Hail Mary and lost in that game. But it's tough, man. It's tough because we have not won a game of substance in a long time besides Pitt. But this game is a game that I feel like our guys are going to be prepared for. I mean, he had them going live on Tuesday last week. So I mean, with that mindset of us coming out banging, I mean, this is we're facing Ohio University again, but with a little bit more speed. than Ohio had. So it's gonna be a tough game. It's gonna be a tough game, and I mean I don't feel like this is gonna be one of those games that we go down there and don't show up. But I don't know if we can pull this one out. This one is it's gonna be a tough game, and for us to win it, our defense is gonna have to stop that quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're gonna need him to just throw the football and not allow him to. And our corners are gonna have to make plays, because it should be 9 guys in a box, you outside 1-on-1. 8 guys in the box, you out there 1-on-1 with your DB. I mean, with your receivers, and we're gonna force him to throw the ball. So, I mean, if that's the case, I feel like we got a chance. And I would say it's gonna be a 21-17 game. Holding them to 17 is gonna be tough, but I feel like we can do it.
I mean, I look at this game, and I was very encouraged with what I saw out of West Virginia over the weekend. I can't say that I was discouraged at all, because there was a lot of improvement. But West Virginia is you have a young freshman quarterback. Does
anybody remember what he just said when he said but? No, you don't.
Anywho, beside the point, I'm going to go with Houston, because I feel like this is just a tall task for WVU. Any road game that West Virginia plays with a freshman quarterback, any road game you play is going to be tough, and you're surrounded by a bad offensive line, and you can't really run the football. You're placing a whole lot of responsibility on a freshman quarterback. So I'm going to take Houston. I think it's probably going to be a little closer. I think there's no moral victories, but I think West Virginia is going to play tough. I just think Houston will have a little too much, and I think it's going to be like 27-20.
He can go live Sunday. He can go live Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You can go live as many days as you want. That's great. I like to hear that, but you ain't going to Houston and winning. It's going to be 27-10 Houston.
Until West Virginia gets the running game going, I think Scotty Fox looked good last week, but they've got to give him some assistance with the offense, and they got to get the running game going, and I just don't see that happening this year. So I'm going to go with Houston over West Virginia. Probably, you're looking at a 7 or 10-point victory for the Cougars. But, hey, we'll see what happens. Line them up. One thing I do want to see is improvement. I'll take the improvement. I mean, this season is what it is. So the TCU weekend we weren't in here today, doom and gloom. There's things are heading in the right direction. And I know no moral victories and all that fun stuff, but, I think things could be heading in the right direction. But then again, hopefully they don't go and pull a UCF, going on the road. West Virginia's not had much luck on the road. So I'm going with the Cougars, and that will be that. So, again, for the guys, appreciate you guys checking out the show this week. Make sure you go over and hit subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. And if you'd like to hear the radio broadcast, head over to touchdowncity.com, and you can find all the radio stations and affiliates on that list there. So we will catch you next week, hopefully singing Country Roads, but we shall see. See you next week.